What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. I'm once again joined by Tyler, and in this video, we want to talk about how death was meaningless in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Now, this is obviously a spoiler-heavy video. All of our videos so far have been. I'm going to go first. I'm going to hand over to Tyler next, and this I think, correlates with what we've talked about in the past several videos. Meaningless, pointless, a lot of these things. It's like, why did they introduce this in 9? I feel like they all connect, and to be honest with you, like when you look at this movie and you say, oh, this is a pointless part, or this is like a thing that doesn't really hold up, or like, why did they introduce this? Sometimes it comes back to bite them the biggest in terms of movie-going experiences when these deaths, or even like, we're going to talk about the deaths, but even like the major moments of this film, like, it ruins them. It honestly ruins them because of other things the movie does. So let's go over some examples. One of the biggest ones is Chewie dying. Now, Chewie doesn't die, but he does, right? So I don't understand how that even happens. He gets on like that prisoner ship. You see him do it. They see him do it. It lifts off. Now, they don't technically show that ship lifting off, but you only see one there. It lifts off. Rey and Kylo have their thing. Rey electrocutes it for some reason, just to connect to Palpatine, but it's a Sith thing in general. It's not a Palpatine thing. Sith can do that. So that's kind of worthless. And then they say, oh, Chewie's dead. And you have this whole scene. If you didn't know going into it that he died, I mean, yeah, I think you actually would be pretty emotional. The characters, I feel like, do a very good job of conveying that to you, that they're very, very sad. Rey, I liked how she did it when she was like, kind of crying out Chewie. Finn was very, very hurt by it too. So, like, I did like that. But here's their biggest problem. I believe 2 to 3 scenes later, Chewie's back, where they're on the ship, and then the characters like Hux and all that stuff, and they're like, hey, we captured a prisoner. Like, there was a second ship there, and it's like, oh my God. Like, yeah, if you knew it, or if you kind of doubted, and you're like, well, they wouldn't really kill Chewie off, would they? They still didn't give them any time to build that. You have to leave that out there long enough that we believe it and are like emotionally connected and feel sad because we now believe Chewie's gone. And they didn't do that. They let us feel it for like a minute and a half, and then firstly, they didn't really, because then they just kind of cut away and they do other things because this movie is always moving at the speed of light. And then all of a sudden, Chewie's just back and you literally see him. So, and they tell you right before that. So it's like, it didn't mean anything. There was no point. Another thing, it's not a death, and the next 2 actually aren't deaths, but C-3PO, the memory loss. Again, we knew it going ahead of the movie, so maybe my viewpoint skewed. But seeing it, even again, honestly, there was no emotion there. They even tell you. C-3PO tells you, oh, well, R2 has a backup. I don't even remember if it's C-3PO, but one of them says, well, he has a backup in R2. And then C-3PO says, but it's unreliable. Well, why would you say that, though, if you're not going to use it later down the line? So that was just poor foreshadowing, right? So it's like, well, we know that it does exist. You just have to get it out of R2 somehow. And then he loses his memory. And I like C-3PO. I think he had the best comedic timing of any character in the movie. He really did. I truly do believe that. Somehow he did. And that's fine. But, like, I don't think it's his fault. He's literally a robot. He's an iconic character. Nothing they could do. Anthony Daniels does a fantastic job. But, like, nothing, I didn't feel anything. Like, he says, like, I'm looking at my friends one last time. And, like, I get you're supposed to feel emotional at that, but I never felt like C-3PO really liked these guys. In fact, the movie's always made, like, yeah, all the movies are kind of like C-3PO is that annoying presence, and that's why he was so good in the original trilogy, is he's annoying, but the characters know that, and they treat him as such. But you also feel like a family. Like, they feel like a family. Like, him and R2 feel connected. Even Han, like, definitely Luke treats him a lot better than the rest. Even Leia does to a fair extent, right? So, like, you feel like they're all in it together. And this C-3PO's barely interacted with these characters in the first place. So it's like, do we really feel bad that he's going to forget them and this whole 3-movie journey that was just all over the place? Like, I wish I could forget it, but I can't. So can somebody do that to me? So, you know what I mean? It's like that. And then also, let's get to the main part of it. He gets it back. And yeah, that one, they do spread out. But honestly, the way he acts afterwards and the fact that they play it all off for jokes, like, oh yeah, I forgot, like, it's going to be this way, or oh, I forgot he's going to start. Like, remember, like, Poe made a joke like that before they landed on Kylo Ren's, like, main ship, right? like, they used it as a comedic thing. It wasn't even emotional after the initial wipe, so it's like, it didn't do anything for me. Like, they wanted to play it off as comedy, even though it's kind of a serious thing, him forgetting, because it's not just him forgetting that, but it's also forgetting 4, 5, 6, it's him forgetting Luke, Leia, Han. That would have been more powerful, by the way. But because I don't care about his relationship with these characters, it didn't do anything, and then he got them back. So that was another main problem. We're going to go fast because there's obviously 2 more. Kylo getting stabbed. Big thing. That's a huge thing. Rey was going to kill him. Rey was like, oh, you spared me because, like, you realize you don't want to kill me. But then when you have your back turned, I'm going to stab you through the chest. And it's like okay, that was just, like, Rey's complete. I get that. I didn't like it, but I got it. And then at the same time, like, oh, like, he's in a tough spot. Like, he's not dead, but, like, clearly he's hurt. But it's okay because we've established that Rey can just heal now. And that's a whole nother talk, you know, the ability to force heal. And we have talked about that in past videos, even The Mandalorian with Baby Yoda. But, like, it didn't have, like, you knew it. And that's why they teased it. And that's the worst part. Like, they teased it with the snake to ultimately use it on Kylo, to ultimately use it on Rey the last time. And that's the only reason they used Force Heal, and that's the biggest problem with it. So, again, I didn't feel like, oh, man, Kylo's hurt. Like, look what you did, right? It's like, oh, no, Biggie. Sorry, it wasn't even like an accident. Like, she didn't mean to stab him. She stabbed him. She wanted him dead. She saw an opportunity that he wasn't going to attack her, and she took it, and she went for the kill, and she didn't do it. But, like, you know what I mean? So, like, that's bad. Firstly, that's bad for her character. Secondly, you know, like, it didn't matter. I didn't feel anything because I knew she would just heal him anyway. And even if you didn't know that, you still kind of could figure it out. And then, obviously, the final thing, you know, Kylo does die. And his redemption arc, or his arc in general, is the best out of all of the characters of this new trilogy. He really is. I think he's the best overall character, too. At the same time, he's the only one. I mean, he died, but it's like, well, Vader died, and it's like, you're just doing that again. So I don't, like, it doesn't, how much do I really care? And secondly, again, Rey, well, I mean, she gets all the powers of the Jedi. She kills all the power of the Sith and the Emperor, and then she just dies because of that. For some, I don't even know actually why, by the way, she died, but she did, and that's fine, I guess. Like, there could have been ways you could have ended this trilogy with Rey dead, and that would have been a big, impactful moment, but it's like, no, Kylo's not going to let that happen. We're going to bring her back from the dead. Nobody's ever truly gone. And it's like, all right, I mean, nobody dying here or nobody getting hurt really matters. And even I saw other people even point this out when they were going down the corridors of Finn and Poe, basically, when they were just shooting every single stormtrooper bullets, you know, or like bullseyes, right? Nobody, they weren't getting hit. I mean, yeah, Poe got hit at the end, but they killed like 15, 20 people before that, and they were just dead shots, right? It's like does this, like, you never feel like they're in danger. And when they are in danger, or when the danger's already happened to them, you can just reverse it a scene later because you don't want to hang people out to dry too long. And that's their biggest problem. You didn't feel anything. Even Leia, like, yeah, but you know she's a Force ghost. That, I guess, was the most okay thing, but I honestly didn't even feel emotional. The only time I felt emotional when Leia died is when Chewie cried. That was great. That was maybe one of the best scenes in the entire movie, is Chewie's reaction to it. That was awesome. But Leia going, it's like, like, because Carrie Fisher's gone, you expect it, so it's not going to hold the weight it would have. You know what I mean? That's not necessarily the movie's fault, but, like, it didn't do anything. So I feel like literally every single death in this movie, especially the ones they took back later, didn't do anything. Kylo, yeah, a little sad, I guess, but yet again, he feels like redeemed and good for him, and you know, and Rey takes the name Skywalker, so, like, fine. But, like, the movie, not just is the movie pointless, but they take back so many things they introduce, including deaths, and then when they have deaths, they don't really feel anything. Or the Emperor died, and you know what? I didn't really feel anything. I didn't feel like good for Rey, or like I'm glad that evil entity is gone. He kind of felt like a big joke, like he's got this huge opera house, and he's like, I don't even know what's going on. I get that they wanted it to look visually amazing, and it did, and it looked like larger than life. But when has the Emperor ever done that, or ever been that way? Like, why? And so when he died, it was like, okay, I guess. Why did he have all the Sith in him? That's my biggest question still, is like the Sith literally are inside of him, just like now the Jedi. Like, why? How? So, like, I didn't even feel anything. I didn't even feel like they accomplished a good deed or a good. I mean, yeah, they did, obviously, but I don't really, like, care. And that's the movies. That's one of, easily, the biggest problems with this film. I could go on all day, but I'm going to hand it over to Tyler to see what he thinks.
This is a strange one because it's like a duality. Every death that you did not expect happened, and then every death that you did expect, mainly because they either told you or showed you, did not happen. And what a way to do twists. Good, congrats, JJ. You did. I thought Rian Johnson was terrible at the whole gotcha. This was just kind of bad. They didn't even give you like 5 minutes to feel bad about the thing. So obviously, let's look at the first one. I would say like the main one. Chewie, Rey uses Force Lightning, blows up the ship. Chewie's dead. I love the scene with Rey when she screams Chewie. I felt bad. I legitimately thought they actually killed Chewie. It is the last movie. Maybe that's going to happen. Maybe that's what they're going to do. But they didn't, and then they let us know like 2 minutes later when another, I believe it might have been Hux. Actually, I think it was Hux, says, "Oh no, we captured another prisoner. He was just on another transport vehicle." Then they show Chewie. It's like, oh wait, he's not actually dead. So when I was sad, I didn't really need to be sad. You didn't even give me time to like. I wasn't even done with the tears weren't even done forming in my eyes yet. And then they spoil it. It's like, oh no, he's not actually dead. He was just in there was a different ship. They must have took off in a different, like underground. They took off in space by going through the ground because only one ship went up. So that was stupid. So Chewie's death, totally meaningless. C-3PO's death. They hinted at it how many times in the trailers. He just wants one last look at my friends. It was a nice scene. They did a good job with C-3PO. I'm not complaining about C-3PO at all. They actually did him pretty well until he just kind of faded into nothingness in the second half. But he dies. It's not him anymore, and it's kind of sad. But like none of the characters are sad, which kind of actually makes me sad because it's almost like they don't even care about C-3PO at all, actually. But then it's like, oh man, there's another. They could have killed Chewie. They didn't. It's always been C-3PO and R2. Now C-3PO's gone. Oh wait, R2 has a backup drive. Even though they said earlier like R2-D2 wouldn't have a backup drive, and then actually he did. Then he did, and then he's back. It's like, oh, hi R2, I have a mission with, and it's like, oh, cool, C-3PO's back, awesome. Can I care when can I start caring about one of these characters? Because every time they die, they don't actually die. The character, I think it was Zori or Zuri, the one that wears the helmet. I can't remember the name right now. She's on the planet. Poe says, "Why don't you come with us or come with me?" She doesn't. She stays. The first planet that they blow up, of course, is that planet. So you immediately think she's dead. Well, guess what? It actually turns out she just shows up to the final battle. How did she survive? We don't really know. They don't even have to tell us. Apparently, she just decided to jump ship or, leave the planet before. So she's fine. Not that anyone really cared, but it was just the fact, like when you see it blow up, you're like, oh man, she's dead now. No, actually, she's fine. What's another good one? Oh, I know. LEIA. This is one that we all expected, but she didn't do it in the way, or they didn't have her die in the way that we thought. We thought, or at least I thought, or a couple of us thought, even from the leaks, we thought that she would just kind of die like Yoda. That it was just her time. That isn't what they did. And I'm not, this is not a complaint. I like what they did. It's just not what we expected. Again, that's what I was saying. Every death that you did expect didn't happen. Every death that you didn't expect did happen. So I expected her to just kind of fade. Doesn't happen. She actually sacrifices herself to reach Ben. I like that. It was a very good moment. Then it leads into the Han moment. Beautiful. All of that was amazing. Loved all of it. The fact that her body is still there. Because then you expect her body to, when they're looking at her, how they have the blanket over her, you're kind of half expecting the blanket to fall, and then it doesn't. And you're like, wow, that's weird. But then when Ben Solo, and that's the next one, when Ben Solo dies, then she dies. So to me, it was a very nice, beautiful moment. They get to move on together. I really, really like that one. So I don't want to complain about that, but it's just not what anybody expected. We literally just expected either her to die in some kind of, they blow up the planet, or she dies because it was just her time, and then she just dies. So didn't expect it to go that way. Now, again, Ben Solo, actually he dies almost twice, if you think about it. The final battle with Rey, she stabs him because Leia reaches to Ben, and she says Ben, and it kind of just makes him lose his focus, and then Rey stabs him. That should have definitely killed him. I think if Rey didn't heal him, he would have died within a couple minutes. That was a pretty good stab, almost no different than what he did to Han Solo. And not to mention she took a ship right after that, so he would have had nowhere. That would have still happened. He would have had nowhere to go. But anyway, stabs Kylo Ren, and you think, holy crap, this is it. Because, and if you think about it, why not? The Emperor's the true villain, so maybe they do just have her kill Ben or Kylo. So, she stabs him. Nope, she heals him, so he doesn't die. But then, of course, later, with the whole Emperor thing, just as I fell, now Skywalker will too, and he throws him into a pit. You think he's gone forever. He's not. He climbs out. Of course he climbs out right after the Emperor, who I believe we all knew. This is the stipulation. We all knew that the Emperor was going to die. Not surprised there at all. Surprising that the Emperor, after all these years, surviving cheating death, living without a finger, just the fact that he, after all these years, never learned that when you do Force Lightning, when to stop. That's always been his biggest downfall. If you notice, every time he uses Force Lightning, he literally cannot stop. Doing it to Mace Windu when Mace Windu is redirecting at him, and he's like, help me, Anakin, I'm so weak. Just stop. If you stop the lightning, you'll be fine. You wouldn't burn your face. When he gets thrown by Darth Vader, he's still shooting lightning out of his hand. He never learned after all that time. But anyway, I digress. If he would have just stopped shooting lightning at Rey, he probably would have lived. However, Rey kills him. And then here's the death that nobody expected. Rey drops dead. She drops dead. Ben, who we all thought was dead, then climbs out of the pit, holds her, transfers his life into hers, and then he's still there. Rey gives his amazing nephew, or her amazing nephew, I should say, a nice kiss. They just have a nice aunt-nephew kiss moment. Such a beautiful moment between Aunt Rey and nephew Ben, having a beautiful kiss, 30-second long. It was just, how amazing was that one? Aunt and nephew. And then they look at each other, and then Ben dies. So it made you think like Ben's not going to die, everything's fine, and then he dies, and then he fades away, and then Leia fades away. Again, I like that part. But, like I said, everything, all of these deaths, the Chewie one made me feel something for no reason. It lasted a minute, 2 minutes, then we find out he's fine. C-3PO, he's gone. The movie's like, yeah, guess what? We gotta move on. And they did, and then they just bring back C-3PO. Leave him dead! Leave him dead! Not even dead, but just not C-3PO anymore. That would have been fine. Leia, again, I understand that whole thing, fine. Emperor, again, fine. Could have laid off on. He has some kind of lightning dysfunction, I think. Could have laid off on the lightning. Those two I give a pass. The Carrie Fisher, I completely understand, so I can't say anything about that. Emperor, again, completely understand, can't say anything about that. The Ben thing, the Rey thing, why did she drop dead? No idea. I don't think anybody actually thought she was going to stay dead. So really, the Zori or whatever, she comes back. Just leave her dead. It's okay to kill people in this movie. It's the last one. Kill them. Kill them all. So it's like, I don't know. It's just every death was just so meaningless. It's actually annoying because now with the Force healing, it makes you never worried about anybody. And you almost never have to worry because it's like, well, maybe there's just going to be a twist that isn't really a twist. It's just a story element in the next minute that just kind of erases anything I just felt. Seriously, guys, what a freaking This movie is starting to turn into a complete disaster. What the heck?
So guys, let us know in the comments below, what do you guys think? Are the deaths of the Rise of Skywalker characters and, the take-backs as well, did you feel like they were meaningless? Did you feel like you connected to them? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. New videos every single day on Star Wars, and we hope to see you guys on the next one.